Hey, this is Nick and welcome to Borsellino Carpentry. So for today's video, I'm going to be replacing a pane of glass in this window. It's actually the top pane, and this is a single hung window, which means the top pane does not move. It's fixed in place. The bottom pane is the only one that moves. So the first thing we're going to do is pull this bottom pane out so that we don't accidentally break it. So you just lift the window up and there's these little tabs. And we're going to pull them in, and the whole window is going to pop out. And then on the bottom of the window, there's these two little tabs, and you just lift up until the window comes out, and then pull it out of the other side. Step one. Step two, we're going to take off the clippy doodads for the thinging latch part. We're going to go outside and take the plastic strip off of the outside. Okay, so we've got these little strips out here. I already pulled 3 of them off. One of them happened to be broken, so we got new ones to go in. And to get them off, you just got to get your finger in there with a little, whatever, pry with a knife or something, and they pull straight out like that. And you just work it down. There you go. So they're all out, and you want to measure the glass to make sure that the new piece is going to fit if you already have it, or measure the opening and subtract about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch when you get your new glass made so that it will fit back in here. And the glass is actually siliconed on the back side, so we can't free it from here. We have to go back inside and cut all the silicone free to be able to pop the glass out. So we'll go back in and do that. All right, so back inside. I've got some gloves on, so in case this glass breaks, it hopefully doesn't cut my hands up. So I'm just gonna use a regular utility knife and cut in between the glass and the plastic all the way around, and I'm just gonna keep going around and around and around and around until I get it so that the glass is free or pretty free. Okay. I cut all the way around, but the corners are still a little tight, so I'm going to use some putty knives and kind of get in there to get the corners free. Okay, so we're pretty free here. I just want to give a little pressure, not too much. We don't want to break this. This thing should just start freeing itself. There we go. So we just want to scrape all the old silicone out, as much of it as we can, so we get a good bond between the glass and the plastic with the new silicone, because silicone doesn't like to stick to cured silicone, but it'll stick to like everything else. Okay, so I've got all the silicone scraped out. I'm just gonna wipe this down, get any little dust and whatever off. And I've got the new window. There's a new pane here. It was wrapped in styrofoam, so I'm gonna do the same thing, just get all the like loose particles off. We're gonna dry fit it. Okay. So it fits. And there was a bunch of these little plastic things that are spacers. So we're gonna put the silicone in, set this in place, and then stick the spacers in just to make sure that the window has room for expansion and contraction inside of this. If I can find all the spacers. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Okay, so we got the silicone. Just gonna put a little bead here. All right, so I've got these little spacers that were in it. We're just gonna set them back in place. And then, so I don't cut myself, I'm gonna put my gloves back on. And take the piece of glass. Fits right in there. Give it a little press just to make sure that it's seated on the silicone. You can see it's squirting out inside. And then when the silicone cures inside, if it's squirted out, you can just use a putty knife and a little scraper and you can get that all off. But you can't do it until it cures or it'll just make a mess. It'll just smear all over. All right, so we're there. We want to center it in this opening. And there were spacers on the side and I could only find one of them. So I'm going to cut one of them in half. With my utility knife here. And just stick those in. So we're gonna put the bottom piece in first. We got all new pieces of plastic from Jeld-Wen. This is the Jeld-Wen window. And so I'm just gonna set it where it's gonna go and give it a little cut. Now the bottom one is gonna go in first, straight cut, and then the next ones are gonna go in with an angle cut over it. And these should just pressure fit right in there. So for the next one, I'm gonna get it where I want it. I'm gonna cut the length. Now I'm gonna cut a 45-degree angle here. And give it a little relief cut there so it's not binding up on the other one. See what that looks like. Slide that down in there and snap it in. Looks like I'm a hair too long. There we go. All right. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Set it where we want it. Cut it to length. Cut a 45. Back cut it. And then the last one, looks like it'll fit the way it is. So we're just gonna cut 45s on the ends. Back cut them. Okay, that's it for the outside. We'll just put the window back in, put the locks back together, and we'll be done. So to put the window back in, we're going to do the opposite of what we did to take it out. So there's this little hole on each side, and there's a little pin on the window. So you got to have the window flat, just like we took it out. Stick it in the one pin, stick the pin in the hole. Do the same thing on the other side. And then get it pretty flat, and then push it up into place. There we go. And there's these tabs that pull in and pull out that keep the window from being able to move. Now we're going to put the latch back on the upper sash. Okay, make sure the window operates. We're going to latch it. Okay. Now we need to let this sit for minimum 24 hours to let the silicone cure, and then if you want, you can come in here and scrape any silicone that squished out. And I think that's it. So if you like what you saw or you didn't like what you saw, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, check out my Facebook, check out my other YouTube videos, and I've got a new Patreon if you'd like to support me at all. And if you have any other ideas for videos you want me to do, let me know, and see you on the next video.